Restrooms are meant to be places of silence, yet in Japan they hold echoes of terror. Cold cubicles, flickering fluorescent lights, and isolation become traps. Those who enter may not leave alone. A nation steeped in tradition also hides stories of spirits lurking in the most vulnerable place, where the mind falters and fear consumes. They do not wait to be summoned. They are already there, watching from behind locked doors. These are not tales for children, but warnings carved into collective fear. Choosing red or blue can seal your fate. Giving the wrong answer can cost your legs. Meeting a reflection can condemn your soul. Japanese folklore whispers that at night, bathrooms are never empty. The walls listen, the mirrors stare, and some stalls should never be opened. To linger too long is to invite something that has waited patiently for you. Legends thrive where routine turns fragile. In schools, the last stall is avoided, for students know the Red Cloak may be waiting. A faceless man with a crimson cape appears, asking which paper you choose. It is not a game. Any answer is a sentence. The thought alone is enough to make children rush past bathrooms, clenching their breath, terrified that hesitation might summon something with no mercy. Then there is Kashima Reiko, a woman left broken by tragedy. Crushed by a train, her body severed in two, she crawls through the night in search of her missing legs. In some versions, she drags herself into bathrooms, cornering the vulnerable with a single question: where are my legs? The wrong answer seals your fate. Her legend endures because silence in a stall always carries the threat of hearing her voice. Not all spirits announce themselves with words. Some wait behind the glass. Students whisper of a pale woman in white appearing in the mirror, only when one is alone. At first she is behind your reflection, silent and still. But when you turn around, the bathroom is empty. Fear becomes suffocating, for you know she is not gone. She has simply chosen to remain where mirrors follow you forever. 3 legends, whispered through generations, tied to the same place of solitude and dread. A crimson cloak, a severed body, a woman in white. Each story reminds us that the ordinary can be a gateway to horror. Tonight you will hear their voices as they are remembered, not as distant myths, but as warnings that still breathe in silence. Welcome to Echoes of the East. If you dare, subscribe and tell us where you are watching from. The last stall in Japanese school bathrooms carries a weight of fear. Students whisper about aka Manto, the Red Cloak. He appears when you are most vulnerable, seated in silence, waiting for release. A faceless man hidden beneath a crimson cape, his presence suffocates the air. He does not attack outright. Instead, he offers a choice, one that cannot be escaped. The bathroom becomes a courtroom, and your answer becomes the sentence. The legend says he will ask if you want red paper or blue. The question seems harmless, but the meaning is cruel. Red means being cut until blood stains the stall. Blue means strangulation, skin turning pale. No choice leads to survival. Those who hesitate, who try to run, discover that the stall door no longer opens. aka Manto is patient. He does not need speed, only your trembling submission. Teachers dismiss it as childish imagination, but older students warn newcomers. They tell of nights when footsteps echo in empty hallways, only to stop before the bathroom door. Once inside, the lights flicker, shadows twist, and the air turns unbearably cold. The sound of fabric dragging across tiles is the only warning. If you hear it behind you, it is already too late. aka Manto does not forgive hesitation. In some schools, the legend grew darker. Children spoke of friends who vanished after daring each other to summon him. The stall where they entered remained locked for hours, though no one was inside when it was forced open. Others claimed to hear muffled cries beneath the sound of running water, voices begging not to choose. Once his question is asked, the victim belongs to him, bound by invisible chains of fear. What terrifies most is his silence. Students who claimed to see him say he never speaks until the moment of choice. Before that, he only stands, faceless and tall, crimson cloak dragging against the floor. The stillness is unbearable, as if the entire room waits with him. Even the air seems suspended, pressing on your chest. By the time his voice finally cuts through, your mind is already broken. Some believe refusing to answer is the only escape, but the stories argue otherwise. Those who deny him are said to vanish, dragged into a realm behind the stall, never to return. Others say the lights shut off, and when they flicker back, the cubicle is empty, leaving only a smear of crimson on the walls. Survival depends not on bravery, but on a cruel mercy that aka Manto never grants. It is said that aka Manto's origin is rooted in violence. Some believe he was once a criminal, executed for unspeakable crimes, his blood staining his cloak red. Others whisper that he is not human at all, but a spirit born from the collective fear of children. Either way, he thrives on decisions. Each choice is a trap, each answer a ritual sacrifice that strengthens his presence across countless schools. Parents dismiss these tales, yet children carry them like scars. Some refuse to use school bathrooms alone, holding their breath until they reach home. Others avoid the last stall entirely, convinced they will see crimson fabric brushing the floor. Fear becomes routine, woven into daily life. What began as a whisper has become an inherited terror, passed between generations of students, leaving every closed stall door under quiet suspicion. Whispers spread that he changes with the times. In modern versions, aka Manto asks not about paper, but about colors on a phone screen. Red for blood, blue for suffocation. Even when technology replaces tradition, his game adapts. The essence is unchanged, an impossible decision, demanded in silence. What matters is not how, he asks, but that he always returns, waiting in places where fear multiplies easily, feeding on isolation and imagination. The cruel genius of aka Manto's curse lies in choice itself. Human instinct believes decisions offer control, yet here, every path is loss. That realization gnaws deeper than violence, because it strips away hope. Even refusing to play only ensures disappearance. In his stall, the victim is not killed by blades or strangling hands, but by the crushing certainty that no matter what they choose, they were doomed from the start. Students who claim to have survived speak in whispers. One said she fainted before answering, and woke outside the bathroom, her hands stained red, though unhurt. Another claimed he chose neither, screamed instead, and woke days later with no memory of what occurred. Each survivor carried eyes hollow with fear, warning that the stories were not games. Their trembling voices made others believe. And belief, in Japan, is power. Bathrooms at night carry the weight of these stories. Every flicker of light, every draft of air feels like a warning. Some janitors refuse to clean the last stalls, claiming the mirrors distort their reflections. Others insist the smell of iron lingers, no matter how often the tiles are scrubbed. The legend persists not because it is told, but because silence itself becomes proof, a lingering dread no cleaning can erase. Aka Manto is not bound to a single school. Reports of his appearance spread across Japan, from Tokyo to rural villages. The details shift, but the fear remains constant. Each new generation of students inherits the same warnings, the same whispered instructions. Never answer, never linger, never trust the silence. And yet, year after year, someone dares, believing it to be a game, until the game answers them back. The true terror of Manto is not his crimson cloak, nor his faceless mask. It is the way he transforms the ordinary into horror. A bathroom stall, a locked door, a question without mercy. He proves that terror does not need monsters in forests or shadows in abandoned houses. It can wait in the most mundane corner of daily life, turning solitude into a death sentence and choice into damnation. Kashima Reiko is not whispered as a game, but as a curse. She was once a woman who met a gruesome end beneath the wheels of a train. Her body was severed in two, leaving only her upper torso to crawl across the earth. She does not rest. She drags herself through hallways and bathrooms, arms scraping against the ground, searching endlessly for the legs she lost in death. The legend claims she appears when you are most alone, often in bathrooms after nightfall. Her arrival is marked by the sound of scraping, like nails across tile. When she finds you, she does not strike immediately. Instead, she fixes her hollow eyes upon you and asks a single question. "Where are my legs?" Her voice is broken, a chilling echo of pain. Answer incorrectly, and she takes yours in exchange. Students whisper of friends who disappeared after hearing her question. Some say their bodies were found days later, torn apart, missing both legs. Others insist nothing was ever discovered, as if they had been dragged into another realm. The terror lies not in her form, but in her demand. To face Kashima Reiko is to face a riddle of survival, with the wrong answer costing more than life itself. The correct response changes depending on who tells the story. Some say you must answer on the Meishin Expressway, where she died. Others claim you must say on the railway, or even on the tracks. The detail is crucial. A hesitation, a stumble, even a half-truth is enough for her to condemn you. Her vengeance is merciless, because it is rooted in truth. She wants the pain she endured reflected back. Bathrooms became the heart of her legend. Students swear she crawls beneath stalls, her blood-stained hands reaching out. Mirrors sometimes reveal her before she appears, her twisted form lurking behind the reflection. Those who try to flee find the doors locked, no matter how hard they push. The air turns heavy, as though the walls themselves have closed in. By then, the scraping grows louder, and escape becomes impossible. Some survivors claim she can be tricked. One story tells of a boy who shouted the correct answer before she asked, stunning her long enough to run. Another said, repeating Kashima backward banished her temporarily. But these are rumors, thin threads of hope in a sea of terror. The truth is that most who encounter her never live to retell it. The bathroom becomes their tomb, and silence swallows their screams. Her curse is not bound to one place. Sightings of Kashima Reiko spread across Japan, in schools, offices, and train stations. Always the same, the scraping, the question, the missing legs. She is relentless, drawn to vulnerability, to the solitude of those trapped in stalls. The terror she inspires grows because the rules are unclear, shifting like smoke. The only certainty is that she will not leave without taking something. The cruelty of Kashima Reiko lies in her broken humanity. Unlike demons or spirits born of legend, she was once flesh and blood, destroyed by violence. That grief became her weapon, her endless punishment upon the living. To face her is to see what suffering can create. Her story is not just horror, is despair turned eternal. She is a reminder that death does not always bring peace. Whispers among students describe her appearance. Her torso drags forward, skin pale, blood caked along the torn edges where her body was severed. Her face is hollow, eyes sunken, yet her mouth stretches with a question she cannot stop asking. She is a grotesque mirror of pain, a body half alive and half dead. To encounter her is to witness suffering made flesh, crawling endlessly in search of stolen wholeness. Some say Kashima Reiko is drawn to fear itself. The more one knows of her story, the more likely she is to appear. Simply speaking her name is said to invite her presence. Stories claim those who hear about her at night are most vulnerable, for she is strongest when shadows dominate. The bathroom becomes her hunting ground, because it isolates her victims in silence, with nowhere to hide. The rules of her curse have become riddles. Survivors warn that you must never answer, "I don't know." Doing so seals your fate. Some insist you must repeat the location of her death exactly. Others claim you must declare you are not the one who took her legs. But confusion is her power. The uncertainty gnaws at you, weakening your resolve, until you stumble over your words. That hesitation is enough. Janitors and teachers avoid late-night bathrooms, claiming they have seen shadows crawl where no body should exist. Some describe bloodstains that vanish when touched. Others speak of icy drafts slithering beneath locked stalls. The legend endures not just because children tell it, but because even adults have felt her presence. Kashima Reiko has escaped childhood stories. She has become a shared fear, haunting anyone foolish enough to linger. Over time, her myth spread beyond schools. Travelers at lonely train stations reported hearing the scraping, feeling watched. Office workers claimed their reflection in restroom mirrors was not their own. She does not remain bound to her place of death, but carries it with her. Wherever there are stalls, mirrors, or silence, Kashima Reiko can manifest. Her curse is not tied to a building. It is tied to human fear. The true horror of Kashima Reiko is inevitability. She is not a ghost that can be banished, or a demon that can be fought. She is trauma made endless, crawling through generations, feeding on those who know her name. Every time her story is told, she grows stronger. And now that you have heard of her, you must remember the answer. If she asks where her legs are, will you know? The bathroom mirror is not trusted in Japanese schools after dark. Students whisper of the Shiroi Anna, the woman in white, who appears silently behind reflections. She does not knock, she does not speak. At first, she is only a pale blur at the corner of your eye. But once you notice her fully, she is already watching. And once she sees you, she is unwilling to let you go. Her presence is marked by silence heavier than darkness. Lights flicker, and the mirror seems deeper than glass, like a pool holding something alive. Those who linger see her pale face form behind their reflection. She stands still, eyes black as void, her long white dress stained by shadows. When you turn to look, the stall is empty, but the reflection remains, smiling faintly where your own face should be. Students tell of nights when footsteps echo in empty bathrooms, yet no one enters. Looking in the mirror reveals her figure behind, closer each time. She does not move naturally. Her head tilts, her mouth never opens, but her gaze pierces through. Some victims report paralysis, unable to scream, unable to move. Others vanish after collapsing against the sink, their reflection dragging them inward. The stalls remain empty, but whispers linger. The legend says she is drawn to loneliness. Anyone using the bathroom alone, especially late at night, is vulnerable. She does not appear in crowds, nor during daylight. Only when shadows lengthen and silence suffocates does she manifest. Her arrival is subtle, designed to trap the victim in uncertainty. Was it imagination or something real? By the time doubt fades, the reflection has already shifted, and escape is no longer possible. Descriptions vary, but her appearance is always unsettling. She is impossibly tall, her hair falling black and damp across her face. Her white dress clings to her form as if soaked in unseen water. The most horrifying detail, however, is her expression. A faint, crooked smile that never changes. It is not joy, but hunger. A smile that seems to stretch wider the longer you stare, until your own face fades. Some say she takes her victims into the mirror itself. Their bodies remain behind, lifeless and cold, while their souls are trapped in endless reflection. Others claim she replaces them, walking into the world in their form, wearing a disguise stitched from their stolen identity. Both versions end the same: those who encounter her are never truly themselves again. Whether dead or replaced, the victim is erased, their existence consumed silently. Teachers who dismiss the story still refuse to face the mirrors at night. Janitors speak of wiping handprints that appear inside the glass, pressed from the other side. Some describe whispers echoing, though no mouths moved. Bathrooms become places of dread, not relief. Students rush through them, refusing to glance at reflections. The fear is not of blood or screams, but of silence deep enough to feel like a trap. The Shiroyana is not bound by schools. Travelers report glimpsing her in train station restrooms, her reflection lingering long after they left. Office workers claim late-night overtime brings shadows moving in mirrors where no one stood. Her legend spreads because mirrors are everywhere, unavoidable, inescapable. To live in Japan is to live with reflections, and to live with the chance that one day, hers might replace yours. What makes her terrifying is not the violence, but the intimacy. She appears inches behind your shoulder, where no one should stand. You feel her presence even before you see her. The chill at your neck, the weight in the air, the subtle urge to avoid looking too long. But humans are weak against curiosity, and when you finally meet her gaze in the glass, it is already too late. The bathroom mirror becomes a door, a border crossed without consent. Survivors rare, as they are claim their reflections moved differently for a moment, eyes delayed, smile crooked. One girl swore she saw herself wink though she never blinked. Another said the reflection stepped closer while she stood still. They left screaming, never entering a school bathroom again. Their terror was enough to convince others. The Shiroyana is no illusion. Some try rituals for protection, covering mirrors with paper charms, refusing to look into the glass after sunset, whispering prayers before entering bathrooms alone. But none guarantees safety. The legend persists because fear itself keeps her alive. The more people whisper her story, the more she spreads, woven into every reflection. Mirrors are not windows, they are traps, and she waits behind them, patient, feeding on the certainty that you will look. There are those who claim she is the spirit of a woman murdered in a bathroom, left to bleed alone in silence. Others insist she is not human at all, but an Onru, a vengeful ghost feeding on loneliness. The truth no longer matters. What matters is that every mirror carries her possibility. The fear is not of death, but of being replaced. That is her cruelty stealing life, while leaving the shell. The Shiroyana is feared most because she never warns. No question, no choice, no sound. Only a reflection that should not exist. She thrives on moments when no one else is watching, when you believe you are alone. The next time you glance into a mirror and feel something just out of place, remember her story. And remember that once she is seen, she will never stop watching you. Her terror endures because she transforms routine into nightmare. Mirrors are ordinary, yet with her they become predatory. Bathrooms, meant for solitude, become hunting grounds. She is not fire, not blade, not scream. She is silence turned lethal. The woman in white of the toilet proves horror does not need blood to scar. It only needs presence. And presence, once felt, never fades. She is behind the glass, waiting still. Three spirits tied to the same place of isolation, where silence becomes suffocating. Their legends are not simply ghost stories. They are warnings etched into Japanese memory, reminding us that fear thrives in routine. Bathrooms are ordinary, yet these spirits turn them into gateways of dread. Once you know their names, you cannot enter alone without feeling the weight of their presence. The power of these legends is not in blood or gore, but in inevitability, a choice that cannot be won, a question that cannot be answered, a reflection that should not exist. They remind us that terror is strongest, where escape feels closest, yet never arrives. And though the world outside moves on, the stalls remain quiet, waiting. Inside them, the air lingers heavy, as though someone unseen is still watching. You have heard their stories, but the danger is not confined to words. Belief is the breath that sustains them, and tonight, you have given them form. The next time you face an empty bathroom, a locked stall, or a waiting mirror, remember these names. If you dare, subscribe to Echoes of the East, and tell us where you are watching from. But do not linger too long, for something may already be near.